don't know about you, but I have family members who are like, AI, like, I just want to put my head in the sand. Is this NFTs? Can I just wait this out? And I strongly recommend that people don't wait this out.
Y'all, today's show is so good.
But number one, I've never seen an intro like that.
It is my hope and desire that not only will episode 30 still be fun, but episode 300 will be even more fun. You are made for something great, so go and be awesome.
Ten seconds remaining.
Show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, today's episode is brought to you by Executive Help Now. At Executive Help Now, we're all about simplifying your business so you can strive and focus on what really matters. From streamlining operations and managing administrative tasks to keeping everything organized, our team is here to help you thrive. If you're ready to make life a little easier, visit us at www.executivehelpnow.org. Y'all, today's show is so fantastic, and that is because Dr. Joan Bajorek is an AI entrepreneur, investor, and best-selling author, ranked number 4 in Voice AI by VoiceBot.ai. As CEO of Clarity AI, she builds custom AI solutions and hosts the Your AI Roadmap podcast. With over 10 years in AI, she has secured multi-million-dollar contracts. She advises startups and speaks at top events like CES. Her work appears in Forbes and Harvard Business Review. Y'all, put your hands together for Dr. Joan Bajorek. Hello.
Delighted to be here. What an introduction.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm so honored. With those credentials, you could be anywhere. And you are here with us and our audience. And I'm so grateful. So grateful.
Well, I'm delighted to be here. I love the vibe.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we like to keep it hype around here because we know that there is no shortage of nonsense going on out there. We got to create our own joy and happiness in here, right?
Couldn't agree more.
So Joan, I'm going to call you Joan. You said it was okay, so I'm going to call you Joan. I would love to learn more about your AI journey. Like when you were in school, was this even a thing?
Not exactly. I come to AI via linguistics. So I was one of those language nerds that wanted to learn French and Spanish and Italian, you know, those people, if you have a friend. Yeah. And then linguistics, I have a master's and PhD in the field. And that's when really I started seeing natural language processing. I was like, ooh, this is cool. What's happening? And back in the day, people were like, linguistics, are you going to get a job? Like, we're worried about you. And today, large language models, people are like, wow, you're so brilliant. You know, these hype cycles, whatever. But that's how I've gotten into the space and got to play with cool data sets and AI infrastructures. And also, you know, experiencing the news, I've been in 2 AI layoffs. So it's somewhat ironic to be building AI and experiencing how society is shifting with AI as well.
Wow. So I'll bet that was traumatizing, number one, because any layoff is traumatizing. Yeah. But when you're laid off because of AI, I think that's a whole nother level of panic. I don't know. It just seems, because if you get laid off because a company merged and there's redundancy, that I can understand because I'm old school, right? But when you get laid off because of AI, what is that like?
It is wild. I think we all are experiencing these huge opportunity vibes with AI, but also high volatility. 30% of the company let go in a day, right? Just like, oh yeah, it feels personal. That pain is personal, right? But when you zoom out, you're like, hey, wait a minute. If 30% of the company gets let go, how personal can this be?
Right. Yeah.
So a lot of my work recently has been like, and I've continued on my career, as you just read my bio, right? That was, these are just ups and downs. How do we, like, I'm not alone in this. You see it in the news, all these wild layoffs going on at companies you thought were stable like 3 seconds ago. So like, how do we take care of ourselves? How do we take care of our families, our communities? And that's what a lot of Your AI Roadmap work and my book is about. How do we future-proof our career? How do we future-proof our income? Like, this is the beginning of more. I don't know about you, but I don't see AI going away anytime soon.
Definitely
and so
not.
Preparing people, literally providing a roadmap, my best advice for you. But truly, I want to, it's a volatile and cool time. So many opportunities, but taking care of the individual. So anyway, I've lived it, ups and downs. Woo.
Like firsthand testimony.
Yeah.
You could literally wrote the book. I love that. You didn't take this experience and like crumble from it, but you actually took this experience and used it to your advantage to not only manage through that particular time, but to future-proof your future by getting behind what is happening, whether we want to accept it or not. This is happening. AI is here. It is here to stay, whether we like it or not. And if we don't like it, that's just too bad. So sad. Because it's not going anywhere. We have to have a mindset shift in how we think about AI, especially as business owners. So when you think about AI in this whole AI era, I'm sure they're going to have a term coined for this day and age that we're living in. But how is AI shaping career opportunities? And what skills are essential to stay ahead of it? Whether you're in the job market or you're a business owner, what skills do you need to stay competitive?
Yeah. One of the biggest ones I would say is kind of that mindset and curiosity. A lot of people come to me and they say, oh, I'm worried. Like, what do I need to know? And I, from a management perspective, do you want to keep an employee who's not interested in upskilling, who just wants the status quo? Or do you want someone who's excited, curious, raising their hand, being like, okay, let's try this new tool. Like, could this be the business? So that curiosity, I don't know that I can say like, everyone must do X, but what are the things in your field? You work in the finance sector, you work in HR, whatever it is. What are the tools that you could be upskilling in to keep yourself competitive at your current company, your future company, etc.? So I think it's between our ears sometimes, if that makes sense.
Right. So say somebody is in marketing or they're in sales or they're in HR. How does AI impact or influence those industries? And how can we take advantage or leverage it for our benefit?
Oh, yeah. Well, let's try to get concrete, right? Because it can be so fluffy and big. When I talk to marketers, there's so many amazing tools. One of my favorites is Canva, which I'm guessing, Renee, you probably maybe a power user of already. But they already
at least the team is.
The team is, exactly. Someone's a power user of Canva. They have amazing generative AI, a suite within Canva where you can click a button and it just takes the background off completely. Like, that used to take people minutes to hours to do perfecting. I mean, you all have beautiful assets here. So like getting it all together, like just generative AI suite, it can resize things, click of a button. Used to take us minutes to hours. And so those minutes and hours, what else could your team be doing? Or could they, burn out? Like, how it's efficiency, productivity, quality products that we're putting out there. So that's a really low lift. Canvas, there's a free tier, right? We have all this AI being built into tools we may already use. and knowing how to do it effectively and giving your team time to, hey, try that out. Is that helpful? Could that streamline things? So those type of AI integrations is something I recommend anybody does in their domain, in their field.
Right. That is great advice, because those minutes to hours add up. And if what used to take you hours now only takes a couple of minutes, then you've bought back time to go and do something else, whether it's reaching out to another new client or following up on an email or, developing some new relationship that's going to help move your business forward. Right. So yeah, so valuable to take full advantage of every tool that has an AI aspect to it.
Yes, I agree.
And it seems like all of them, I don't know if all of them do, because what we use is so limited and there's so much out there. But there's, even with the Microsoft Office products, with the Google products, with all of the different products, there's an AI component to it to help speed things up, for lack of a better word.
Absolutely. I work with customers every day who are like, Joan, what are the tools? Like, how do we upskill people on them? Like, it can be overwhelming, frankly.
Yeah.
Finding the ones that are valuable, that do drive revenue, that save time. I mean, as we're talking about, if it took you hours and it now takes you seconds, like that's a dramatic improvement that we can see. So I think that just the shape of work cultures, and I think people are, I don't know about you, but I have family members who are like, AI, like, I just want to put my head in the sand. Is this NFTs? Can I just wait this out? And I strongly recommend that people don't wait this out. Trying things, the curiosity, that open-mindedness that I was mentioning.
Yeah. Don't wait this one out. You won't make it. This one's gonna win. So then, what would you say then is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about AI in professional growth or in business development?
In business development, I mean, one of the top DMs that I get that is interesting to me is people are like, oh, Joan, how do I get a job in AI? Because if I get a job in AI, I'll be safe somehow from layoffs. Have you heard about this? Like, AI jobs are the golden ticket type of narrative. And I try to tell people, like, I got a PhD, I work in AI, I build this stuff. I've been in 2 layoffs. So if you think that's your golden ticket, I got to gently say it's not.
Yeah.
Right? So I think there's this upskill and that murky gray area of, what do I need to do? What is my roadmap? Is a question I think a lot of us are asking right now, which are great questions. And so that's why I really try to structure my work into future-proofing your career. How do we modernize and get your career going in a beautiful, happy way that you feel more stable? And how do we talk about money, real talk, protecting your financial home, so that if there are ups and downs, like I've had, that you have more of a cushion, you have financial literacy, again, to take care of yourself, your family, community. So nuts and bolts, basic traditional stuff. It's so funny to work in AI and feel so modern and be like, back to old school, back to the fundamentals.
What are the tried and true things that have always worked? Those will continue to work. Especially, I love how you talk about being fiscally responsible, or basically taking responsibility for your personal finances and creating this cushion for yourself. And I love how AI can even help you with that. If you've never been the best budgeter or the best saver or had trouble managing finances, we got all kind of tools out here. You can ask it a question, how can I save $100 a month? And it spits out all these fantastic suggestions that are quite doable. Do you know what I mean? So if it wasn't $100, it could be $500, it could be $1,000, whatever it is. If you're planning for a big trip and the trip is 6 months away, and you want to know how much do you have to save to pay for this entire trip, from now, it'll just spit out the whole budget for you, like the whole plan. There's no excuse for financial illiteracy today. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I know we weren't even talking about finances today, but I'm just saying.
It's all good. I think that's the underlying things is people talk so much about big careers and things, but we don't always talk about the money side of the house. In my family of origin, it was super taboo to talk about money, frankly. But if you are worried about your rent, how can we talk about big, huge goals that you have? And I think you're right. I use SoFi. They show me big transactions. Did you mean to? Is this a good purchase? Like flag recurring things that you forgot that you paid for, Hulu again, like all these different things, right? I love Hulu at certain seasons, but I want to know where my money's going, if it's serving me. I have an emergency fund, which a lot of Americans do not even have an emergency fund. They didn't get that education from wherever, but I have a set amount of money parked on the side. My high yield savings account, they pay me to leave it sitting there, hundreds of dollars just sitting there. And when I had my hot water heater here in Seattle break in the winter, I was like, oh, that's terrible. But I had $2,000 set aside for emergencies. Got the guy in, he hauled it away, came, you know what I mean? Like, I can sleep better at night because of these cushions. So recommend that to anybody. And we even have more and more as I talk about money tools, I have a website on my website, some money tools I recommend if people want to check it out at yourairoadmap.com/money tools.
yourairoadmap.com/money tools.
There it is, right there.
There's the book right there. If you guys are only able to listen to this show, you are missing out because this beautiful book, the turquoise blue, is just gorgeous. And the money tools here are just really on the beach. I love that. Inspiration to be saving. Yes.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, some of these things, like I use Betterment. They don't pay me a dime to say so. They rebalance things. I set my goals. I set my portfolio preferences. They just keep rebalancing behind the scenes. They even show me how many hours, like a quarter, they save me, like ridiculous amounts of time. And they're just automating in the back end, doing the work for me. So I'll continue building this page out, but why wouldn't I share some of my best tools for others that I literally use myself?
Wow, this is fantastic. These are some really great tools, and I really appreciate you sharing them with us and our audience, because I know that when they check them out, they are going to definitely make a difference in their life and have an immediate impact as long as they implement them, because they're doing no good being on a website. You have to, you got to actually do some work.
That's right. And that's the subtitle to my book. We're on the same page. Actions to expand your career, money, and joy. Because you can read whatever, you can listen to fabulous podcasts, but if you don't set that time aside and actually do the work, no one else can do it but you, the individual. So
that's right. 100%. Could not agree more. So as leaders in our businesses or as leaders in our jobs, what does effective leadership look like in this new era of AI-driven decision making?
I love that. What is effective leadership? For me, it's a lot about vision, communication, delegation. It's so funny to literally be working on AI, some really cool, sophisticated stuff. And like leaders need to have high EQ. They need to be able to communicate and give constructive feedback. I see some amazing high flyers and I'm like, but they're not good managers. Like if you can't delegate effectively, or it's kind of that emotional, Brené Brown talks about like how hard those soft skills hard, like try those soft skills out and see how soft and easy they are. But it's to be an effective leader. I think, as your team just put on the screen, that great communication can be a gap for many leaders I meet.
Yes, absolutely. The casting the vision, the communication, delegating, all of that can be so challenging. And I think that when you're in that space and you're in that position where you have to be the one to cast the vision, you have to be the one to communicate effectively, meeting people where they are, helping them discover their gifts and giving them opportunity to operate in that, that's a skill in itself to be able to do that. And then when it comes time to delegating work that needs to get done, one of the things I discovered, and as I've been in business and met clients who have found that they have a problem with delegating. They find and discover these personal issues they never even knew they had till it came time to hand something off to somebody. And they're like, wait, why is this hard? Why is this? I'm feeling some kind of way at the idea and the thought of someone else having access to this part of me.
Mm.
And yeah, and so there's a lot that goes into it. And when we need to make decisions too, with a lot of managers haven't been exposed to what it means to be a manager. They haven't had training. They were a lot of times just thrown into the role because the vacancy was there and the need was there. And they're like, hey, you've been here the longest, go do this. And so they're not prepared. And so one of the things I actually love about AI is that if you have a question about how to handle a certain thing, you can put in there, like, this is a situation. I need to do something. Like a friend, Ellie 5, tell me how to do this. What should I say? And it basically will help you navigate that entire situation.
Oh yeah, I've used it to help me with delicate emails that need to be written and documented, of constructive feedback that's difficult to give sample language. I tweak it to make it sound more like myself, but yeah, it can absolutely help with that assistant, right? That augmented, that side kick, co-pilot, whatever we want to call it, can actively be used that way. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I'm a fan. And at first I was like those other people who wanted to put their head in the sand and be like, go away, just go away. But yeah, no, I was like, okay, get your head out of the sand. It's not going away. We need to embrace this and leverage it to our benefit, like right now.
Absolutely.
So how then can a business foster ethical AI development while staying competitive?
Absolutely. Well, I think the word ethical, people go, oh no, but ultimately, if you want it to stick around and you don't want big issues later on, like there's all this legislation coming down the pipeline, I think making sure that we have frameworks of what's responsible, it matters per sector, right? If we're working with healthcare data, for example, that's different from HR experience, right? So I had an employee from Upwork come on my podcast, actually, and she talked about all the trainings that every employee was required to go through. Here are the tools we use. Here's how we don't just dump company data into something from the internet. Like there's this, they didn't assume that people know that. There's a digital literacy and an AI literacy and an ethics piece that has to be from the management side. I was like, that is so smart, because I know plenty of people using AI at work. Their company doesn't even know. And I was like, have you changed those data privacy toggles? Like, and he was like, oh, right. Where's that again? Like, we can't assume people just know that, as changes come so fast and furiously. So having frameworks, trainings, resource docs, that sounds like any other piece of the business, but it's just a new one that's coming quickly to businesses today.
Right. Absolutely. And that is so good, because you have to know and understand that your information isn't just your information anymore. It's just not. It's in a computer. It's for the whole world to see. And we may want to say, we're going incognito and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not an AI person, or I'm not a tech person, so I don't exactly know how all of the bells and whistles go together. But if it's a digital piece of anything, I'm pretty sure anybody has access to it.
Literally. And I don't know if you heard about the big Samsung data breach, but developers put source code, like basic code from Samsung's backend, into a large language model, and people fished it and downloaded gigabytes worth of stuff. It's real bad. A lot of people got fired, I assume. As you mentioned, if it's available to employees and they have access to the internet, you just need to make sure that there are those protections in place. So I feel bad for Samsung. It was in the news. I'm not saying anything private, but we don't want those escalations. Even in a small company, we don't want our sensitive client data around. No. So being thoughtful and educating people of how to use these tools effectively, which ones are approved. Here's the company, we did this training. Here's how we use this tool. Et voilà.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Those are great reminders. Now, Joan, what is one actionable step that listeners can take today to thrive, earn, and lead in this age of AI?
Oh, love that. Thrive, earn, and lead. I would say I've got three if I can do so. The first one I'd say is because a lot of people are scared of layoffs today, having that emergency fund, knowing how much runway you might need if you lose a day job, set that money aside, sleep better at night, talk to your friends and family about it. Just that I could recommend to anybody. An emergency fund, ideally in a high yield savings account, so it's making you money while you sleep well. Related to future-proofing your career and kind of being resilient in general, a personal brand. What do people find online about you? And that networking, like the modern flywheel, as I mentioned, like nuts and bolts, basic stuff. I think a lot of people think about your personal, like when people Google you, what do they find? Is it the professional that they want to hire? Go to those events so people know about you. Like it's wild to me, this research about just like showing up, following up. Who are you as a professional? That is the real resilience. If I could just quick share, after COVID layoffs, 70% of people landed their next gig based on an introduction. It was by somebody they knew. It wasn't spamming CVs all over the internet. No. It was their friend Stacy. It was their friend Tim, who was like, oh, you'd be a great fit for, or I got to connect with this person. That introduction is how 70% of the jobs got filled. So you've got to be leveraging that network. So three things: emergency fund, sleep better night, personal brand, and that network to stay resilient in this age of AI.
Right. Those are great suggestions. Absolutely. And I agree with you. During that time of COVID, and people were trying to find out, or after COVID, and people weren't going back to work, and they were trying to fill roles, and they were like, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? Because good people know good people. And so, word of mouth means everything. And then I don't know if it took off during this time or if this has been a thing for a while, but employers will check your social media accounts.
Oh, for sure.
And they will make hiring decisions based on what they see how they see you acting on social media. So we definitely want to be mindful of that as business owners. What impression are we giving to the general public about who we are as a company?
That's right. And my customers follow me on LinkedIn. I mean, they're seeing updates. They want to know that the company they're partnering with is professional, is moving forward. So I literally have them, they're like, I love that you're part of this Perplexity business thing recently. Like they find joy in that. And so making sure to share those professional updates, right, as the employee and as the business owner, both.
Right. Absolutely. So Jane, I hate that we're running out of time. I see the timer is going down. How can our audience stay in touch with you? This was so good. And we need to stay prepared and stay ready and future-proof our futures in spite of AI. How can our audience stay in touch with you?
Absolutely. Well, the number one place you can find me is on LinkedIn. I have a very active presence. And as you can see there, my book is on there as well. So my LinkedIn, I'm building on an Insta. My team told me I had to. You can also check out the book. Here's my Insta. We're building it slowly but surely. And I also have my book, we just saw it as well on you show the website.com. You can find it on Amazon. But this is my best advice about future-proofing your career, future-proofing your income. I share all my 22 income streams and some just kind, real talk about things I wish I'd known. If I had known this stuff in my early 20s, I could be so much wealthier. So giving that gift back to y'all, some real data-driven money talk. My podcast, you could check out as well. Technical leaders from Google, Amazon, Microsoft, talking about AI projects and their careers as well. So the book is the companion to this podcast, all named Your AI Roadmap.
Nice. I love it. That is so perfect. Your AI roadmap, just everywhere. Your podcast on Instagram, LinkedIn, you name it. That's where you're going to find it. And I love that you're sharing your tools with us. Thank you so much. So helpful and means everything to our audience and all the audiences that you get to impact through over the airwaves. So Joan, you were made for something great. So go and be awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.